Think about going into the industry and talking about your turnover rate is 2.2%. Think about that and the value that that will bring to this industry and to potential clients. That's what's exciting about this partnership. We're helping companies save people's lives. So when you start to talk about helping that company become successful, then you really feel about what's our mission.
It's not about a headcount. It's about developing the right leaders to develop their people to get their treatments in the hands of the people that need it.
These are the best of the best. When you look at the food chain within the pharmaceutical industry, when you're talking about high-level rare disease, oncology, cardiovascular, nephrology companies, you're talking about the top leadership and the top tier individuals in the industry as a whole.
Welcome back to another episode of the Athletics of Business podcast. I am your host, Ed Molitor. Man, do I have such an exciting announcement to make today. But before we get to that, let me ask you this question. What if you can not only hire the best right fit talent, but also ensure that they stay, grow, and lead your company to new heights? In this groundbreaking episode, we're going to pull back the curtain on a strategic partnership designed to do exactly that. I am joined today by Ted Coss, president of BEC Search, a premier executive search firm in the life sciences industry. For 46 years, BEC has been the silent force behind building the commercial teams for Fortune 50 companies and innovative startups alike. But now they're evolving beyond recruitment to solve the industry's biggest challenge, retention. We're going to dive into the launch of a powerful new partnership between Buckman, Enoch & Coss, BEC Search, and CoEffex. Discover how this collaboration combines elite talent placement with data-driven leadership development to create a full leadership lifecycle for clients. Ted reveals the secret sauce behind BEC's astonishing 5.3% turnover rate, far below the industry average, and how integrating proprietary assessments and continuous coaching aims to slash that number even further. This is a conversation about building legacy, not just filling roles. We explore the birth of BEC's trademark DRO, direct recruiting outsourcing model, how they navigated the seismic shift to virtual hiring during COVID, and why choosing partners such as CoEffex based on a shared mission and values is the ultimate competitive advantage, not just for BEC Search and CoEffex, but for our clients. If you're in the business of building teams that save lives, this episode is your new playbook. Ted, thank you so much for joining us today on the Athletics of Business podcast. I could not be not only more fired up to have you here, but what we are going to dive into and talk about and reveal.
Yeah, it's an exciting day. I've been looking forward to this now for a few months, and I can't wait to share. We're going to share with the individuals and the people watching this. This is fantastic.
Before we jump into the reveal, I want to talk about BEC, Buckman, Enoch & Coss. And I've been very fortunate to get to know you folks over the course of the last, I would say, 4.5 years. But just tell the listener, what is it that you do? What is it that makes you stand apart, that makes you so unique in your industry and such a major player?
Yeah, so Buckman, Enoch, Coss and Associates, we also go by BEC Search. We've been around 46 years. We're located in Columbus, Ohio. That's where the corporate office. And we have executive recruiters located throughout the country. But if you really talk about who we are and what we do and why we do it the best, we focus in the life science and healthcare industries. That's our specialization. It has been for 46 years. We work with clients that are multi-billion-dollar Fortune 50 companies, as well as the small startup and the growth companies who may be launching either a new drug or a new medical device for the first time. So we really have this breadth and depth of client base that we've had for 30 and 40 years. It's amazing clients and companies that we've worked with 35, 40 years ago to help them establish their first commercial sales organization. We still work with them today. As far as our company, I'm the president of BEC Search. I've been here for 33 years. And we have individuals on this team that have been with us for 21 years. The things that really start to separate us from other executive search firms across the country is our expertise and the tenure of the people that work here at BEC.
So that many years, you've seen a lot change in the industry. Can you talk into that a little bit? And not only how the industry's changed, but how BEC stayed ahead of that and how you folks have evolved.
Yeah, we really pride ourselves of evolving and changing and doing what is necessary to stay out ahead of our competition and offer the best services in the industry. So once again, I mean, I've been here 33 years. The executive search industry was completely different than what it is now. And let me give you an example. I mean, then our searches were retained based or contingent based searches. We still worked with leading life science and growth companies, but there wasn't the need to offer multiple services beyond just conducting a search. And so what's happened, and really with the growth of talent acquisition teams within those companies, with the introduction of a technology that we all know and love by the name of LinkedIn, it's completely transformed the industry. And so we have always tried to stay ahead of what is necessary to give our clients the best possible service. So let me give you an example. Back in probably about 2017, 2018, we were out west in San Diego meeting with a client, and they were going to do a pretty big build out to launch a new drug. You know, they were going to hire somewhere in the neighborhood of about 50 leaders, probably close to 200 to 300 field-based sales reps. And as part of that pitch, we were competing with other companies. We realized that they wanted more than just us placing people, right? They wanted us to be embedded, within their company, within their talent acquisition team, to be a true extension of that group, along with their commercial leadership. They want us to offer other services, such as pre-hire assessment services, ongoing leadership development, to help them with the retention of the people that we bring into their organization. So we realized almost 10 years ago that BEC needed to change to be able to compete. And we've done that. We've created a concept called DRO, stands for Direct Recruiting Outsourcing. It's trademarked. It's our concept, and no one else in our industry has it. And at some point in time, we can dig into that a little bit more. But as part of that DRO service, we're also providing additional services. And that's what we're here to talk about a little bit today.
We are. And then before we get into that, I want to talk about the DRO and the additional services, because I would love to talk about what really sets you apart. And you had mentioned you work with Fortune 50 companies.
Sure.
Work with new startups. And the thing with the mutual clients that we've had over the years, the thing that I really love about you folks that resonated so much with us, because this is what we pride ourselves on, is your ability to keep the personal touch, right? To customize everything, to personalize everything, regardless of the size of the build out, regardless of the size of the company. It was very much to the individual. Can you talk about your folks' commitment to that and why you are so, what makes you so good at that?
The individual, and I don't know if it was Nick Saban or I can't remember what coach came up with this term, but this was our mantra for 2025 and it has been for years. It's, run the play to perfection. So we have individuals here that have been with us for so many years. They're not looking at the final score, right? We talk about what we can do every single day to run the play to perfection. And if you do that, if you take care of the little things, and this has been going on for 25, 30 years, Ed, in regards to the way that we interact with people, the phone calls that we continue to take, even when it may not directly translate to the final score. The time that there's individuals here on my team, John Denny, who John has been with us for 26 years. The time and the relationships John has built with individuals within the life science industry over the last 26 years is unprecedented. Kirsten Siegel. Kirsten's been one of our executive recruiters for 21 years. The legacy and the hard work and the weekends that Kirsten works for 21 years, that translates into these special relationships that we've been able to build. So when you talk about what starts to set us apart, not only the different services that we have, but it's also our people. I mean, the people here at BEC are special. And quite frankly, it's the reason I come in here every day. When you start to talk about things like, the why, it's the people that are here that I love to watch grow and develop, every single day. And hopefully I can help them do that.
It's that passion about the people, it's your care for the clients. I really think that's what brought us together, right? Like you want to
Yeah,
complete the big picture, the complete picture. And several months ago, and this has been a work in progress, like we didn't rush to this, we did this the right way. But several months ago, you reached out to me and you said, "Hey, Ed," and I'll let you take it from here and what your
sure.
thought was and how we approached this together.
We got to know each other over the last few years. I think we really spent a lot of time together. We had the BEC Healthcare Leadership Summit, and we
A lot of fun.
invited 3 or 4 industry leaders to come into Columbus, Ohio. And you came in to moderate the leadership summit and did a phenomenal job. But we brought in 3 commercial leaders from that industry, and we spent a day together. You were here, Suzanne, Jason, and Mark. And so we spent time really getting to know each other. So coming away from that, getting to know you, seeing what your company has done, and talking to you about where you guys were heading, we really felt a need to have a more robust strategy as it relates to additional services that BEC were going to offer. Along with back in 2018, a number of clients, along with not only establishing our DRO service, they were specifically coming to us about continuing to build and retain their leadership. And so that happens through a number of different services. And as you and I started to talk, and I realized how strong your reputation was in the industry, in the life science industry, as far as assessment, leadership development, and coaching, I thought, hey, why don't we potentially talk about a partnership where your firm and your company would be a true extension of what the services that our clients ask for every day here at BEC. So that's what, after about knowing you for a couple of years and watching and knowing the team that's behind you and the experience they have in the life science industry, I thought, why not? I wanted to reach out to you and talk about a concept that I had in mind, and here we are today.
And I thought it was a wonderful concept. I was quite humbled because anytime someone asks you to be a part of something they have put every ounce of energy and passion and care into, I mean, it's a lot. It's like letting someone into your house, right? And we've had a few dinners together to sit down and have
Sure.
that dinner with your family. Like it does take a lot and it's a tremendous amount of trust. And we are beyond honor, but the synergy is just unbelievable. And what you're doing with the folks that you serve. So how does this look moving forward for you here at CoEffex? I mean, we cannot be more excited. Let me back up a second. I remember when we brought some folks from our team out to Columbus back 3 months ago and we sat
Sure.
down and the ideas that we're bouncing around and the conversations that we're having and the runway that we have and all the different things that we can do. Our number one focus right now is helping you folks in the recruiting process with our UMAP assessment and our team that's certified in the UMAP assessment. How do you see that helping your clients as they look to hire the right person, the right leader?
Well, and I'll let you, talk a little bit more about exactly UMAP and some of the other services that you provide. But there's a lot of Me Too pre-hire assessment. There's a lot of Me Too coaching and development that we see out there every day. We're approached by companies to do exactly what we're going to do with CoEffex. And so when you really started to, in a meeting that we had 60 days ago, and you brought your leadership team from CoEffex in here, and you started to talk specifically about UMAP, you started talking about the data associated with your coaching and development and retention of the leaders that you work with. I came away from that meeting, boy, this is special. This is something different that no other company that has come to us to talk about doing this really offers. And so when I looked at the leadership of the team that you have within your company, very tenured life science commercial leadership, who've built teams, who've done exactly what we do and work together with our clients every day. When I understood that they were going to be part of your company and how you're offering something that no one else offers, we got excited. That's why we are here today. What you do is different. What you do is special. And we feel the same way about BEC. We feel what we add and the things that we bring to our clients, no one else can offer. That's why, once again, I'm excited about our future.
It's pretty unique because with CoEffex, we have the coaching effects survey, right? We have over 500,000 coaching relationships that have been measured over a decade. It cannot be matched in the industry. And it speaks to the person, it speaks to the coaching leader, it speaks to the experience that the folks that they lead has. And what's really awesome about UMAP for you and your clients and for us as well, because we use it with our clients, is it maps the whole person. This isn't just a personality. This isn't just your skills. This isn't just your strengths. You know, we dive into the values, we dive into your top 5 Clifton strengths, we dive into your preferred skills versus skills that are a bit of a challenge. And there's a character descriptor. But here's the thing, and you and I have talked about this before, as well as John. When I was coaching college basketball, everybody wants to know, can I win with this kid? Can I win with this kid? Can I win with this
Yeah.
kid? And when I got into 1,000 years ago, when I got into the recruiting space, I leaned into what I used to think about as a coach when I was standing in those gyms in the middle of nowhere. I wanted to know, of course, we all want to know if we can win with this person. I wanted to know if I could lose with this person. Like,
Mhm.
can we go through challenging times? Can we go through adversity? How is this leader going to respond to all of the ambiguity, all of the constant change that happens in this industry? What are their values? Like, what's going to drive their decision making? What's going to drive their hiring process when it's time for them to be the hiring manager? And that's what I really love about it, because now we're getting down to it. We're talking about real things of substance, because at the end of the day, that's what helps you run the play to perfection.
Yeah. And think about this. So within our DRO concept, we've been tracking every single placement that we've completed over the last 14 years now. You know, we track it through LinkedIn. And the number one aspect of what our clients are looking for typically is they're looking for the retention of their people and then the ongoing promotion and growth and leadership of those individuals. That's what makes them successful. That's what drives revenue. Okay. So over the last 14 years, our firm, we average about 350 to 400 placements a year. And we track every one of those individuals on a quarterly basis. Are they still with the company we placed them with? Have they been promoted? And what we found, and this is the data, and this is the other piece I love about what you guys offer, is, you know, the average BEC placed candidate has a 5.3% turnover rate. It's unheard of. Industry averages within a commercial build or within medical affairs build, within a life science startup, or even a growth company, it's up around 15% annual turnover. We're at 5.3%. So when I start to think about, okay, how can we even make that better? How can we even go to our clients and say, listen, now we're 2 years down the road, we've been partnering with CoEffex. You know, we bring in the assessment piece, we bring in the ongoing coaching and development piece. I cannot wait to see what those numbers look like 24 months from now. It could be in half. I mean, now think about going into the industry and talking about your turnover rate is 2.2%. Think about that and the value that will bring to this industry and to potential clients. That's what's exciting about this partnership.
Into something that we love to talk about, let's bring golf into the mix here, right? Like,
Yep.
everyone wants to talk about they went from an 18 handicap to a 10 handicap. That's great.
Right.
But the real magic happens when you go from a 10 to a 7, right? Or a
Right.
7 to a 5. But think about going from a 5 to a 2. It's a complete game changer.
Yes.
Talk about going from the was it 5.3?
5.3%. Yep.
5.3%. Think about going from a 5.3 just to a 3, right? Or
Right.
just to a 2.5. How significant that is, because those leaders that you're retaining in that mix are the ones probably that everybody else is going after because they're so dang good.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, think about, you know, the reasons that companies sometimes don't hit the numbers, whether you're just getting started or you've been a company for years and you've just built a new team, is when you lose people, right? If you keep that retention rate low, and I'm talking 2.5, 3.5, 4%, and then you're building your teams from within and you're promoting those individuals internally and they keep stepping up and they're winning, every individual within that organization is going to stay. They want to be part of it. That's the culture that these companies want. And that's what we're here for. We're to be the leading executive search firm, along with the leading leadership and development firm. This combination, this collaboration, this partnership, it's never been done in this industry. And we are so excited to get this thing started.
It's funny how things come full circle. And it seems like 1,000 years ago when I was in the recruiting space, and it was about 11 years ago, was my last year in it. What really made me start my old company in terms of leadership development and executive coaching was the fact that I realized as we placed, and where I was, we specialized in placing former eggs and retired military, which is incredibly rewarding. You love
Right.
the relationships you build, but I realized was, man, I really missed the transformational part. When I was a college coach, it was about making a difference in young men's lives, right? It was about
Right.
seeing more in them than they see in themselves. It was about, preparing them for the game of life. And once we helped place these candidates and once the job rec was filled for our client, we didn't hear from either of them again until they needed something. There wasn't a day-to-day development. There wasn't the quarterly development. And that was something that I wish we had provided. And now here we are because it's a complete game changer. And your commitment to be embedded in your client's culture, to be embedded in your client's day to day. You can talk about the full leadership life cycle with our emerging leader programs as well, but it's ongoing and it's sustainable. And we talked about getting from 5.3 to say 2.5, but can you imagine the significance of staying there over time?
Incredible.
And then all of a sudden you're hiring internally, you're promoting internally because your bench of leaders, to
Right.
be, they're ready to go. They've been indoctrinated in the behaviors and in the activities and in the day to day and have this incredible and uncanny ability to deal with reality in real time. It's just a lot of fun and it speaks volumes to what you folks do at BEC and committed to who you are.
Well, and think about this. In our industry and what we do and the people that we work with, these life science, let's talk about life science companies. They are committed to their patients. They're committing to saving lives. So we're fortunate enough to partner with a number of, we'll call them rare disease biotech companies. And these companies are introducing drugs and therapies that save people's lives. And so when you start to talk about what gets you excited being in our industry and specifically within this specialization, we are helping companies not just build teams and drive revenues and those types of things. We're helping companies save people's lives. So when you start to talk about, helping that company become successful, helping that company launch a new drug that's going to put a therapy in the hands of a patient who may not be around if it wasn't for that therapy, then you really kind of feel about what's our mission, what's our value, why does BEC exist, and why do our recruiters come in here every day? It's just not about what they want, but it's about how we can help these clients get these products into the hands of these patients and save lives. So it's just a really cool aspect of what we do here every day.
Well, and then you think about the purpose, you think about the why, and you and I both firmly believe, and we agree on this, is that greatness comes from being a part of something bigger than yourself. When you can connect everything that you do to the patient, also the purpose and the why of your clients, it's not about a head count. It's about developing the right leaders to develop their people to get their treatments in the hands of the people that need it, right? For them,
Exactly.
for their families. Hey, do you want to dive in a little bit more to the DRO model?
Sure. No, that
Yeah.
would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So really it was created back in 2018. And like anything, it takes some time to get through some trademark. But with the industry shifting, we're just not here to positions. And companies were looking to really partner. These are typically, BEC offers three different services. Okay. We offer executive level retained search services. We offer professional search services, which are engagement based. And then these project-based DRO, project-based service. And that's become a big part of what we do here every day. So we sat down and we went to our clients and said, okay, what's most important to you that you're looking for? And what do you need from us? And they said, we need someone that we can trust. We need someone that can be a true extension of our talent acquisition, our human resource, and our leadership team. And we're going to partner with you in regards to working on projects. Let me give you an example. We just completed a second project with a phenomenal San Diego-based rare disease company. And we helped them build their first commercial team about 3 years ago to launch a new life-saving therapy. And we just helped them again because they have another indication coming up next year, build a whole nother team, build a whole nother group of individuals who are going to help them meet their goals. So when I talk about DRO, it stands for direct recruiting outsourcing. We are truly embedded within these companies. Our recruiters have their email address. They trust us. We extend the offers to the candidates. 20 years ago, that was unheard of. An executive search firm to extend an offer. I mean, we work with their total rewards department in regards to structuring what that offer is going to be and what it's going to look like. So when we talk about being embedded, I mean, we are a true extension of talent acquisition, human resources, commercial leadership, chief on the medical affairs side of their business, their clinical leadership. So when you start to talk about DRO, it's all this additional service that they're looking for that we can bring to the table, which includes the leadership development, the pre-hire assessments, and some of the other things we're talking about today. Now, since we were one of the first back in 2018 to understand where really where the market was going in executive search, we're fortunate enough now, Ed, to be one of maybe 3 or 4 companies in the country that have the ability to do what we do. And quite frankly, we even separate ourselves from the other 3 or 4. And that's why, knock on wood, I mean, we've been so fortunate to be able to compete for those projects here literally on a weekly basis and to be able to help those clients build those organizations. We just couldn't be more excited about what the position we're in and how we're even going to get better.
I love the posture that you guys have, and I love the approach that you take because you're not paying lip service. This isn't we want to do it because other people think we should do it. This is
Right.
we want to do it because we greatly value the total impact that we can have on our clients. And you know what? There's something missing. And now we're going to be intentional about who we bring in, why we bring them in to partner, and then where we go with this.
Yeah. And here's the other piece. Because of the success we had, not just with the DRO and over the project-based work, but the success we've had with these clients that go back 35 years. The reason we are who we are, the reason we're here 46 years is because those same people, I talked about this, they call us back. And see, and that's the difference too, between when we engage with these clients, we get repeat business, additional projects, ongoing business from them. We're not, hey, we're here for you for the next 4 months and you're never going to hear from us. You're never going to see us again. That's not the case. I'm involved, John Denny, vice president here. We are involved in every single project and we just don't disappear. We don't just hand it off to our recruiters. We make sure that we complete every single project on time and the client walks away and says, Ted, we would never use anyone else. And that's our goal. Our goal, yeah, is to have them, we just went through a wrap-up project meeting with a company last week, and they're wonderful people. They're leaderships, they're titans in the industry. And for them to say, we've done it twice, and we have other indications coming down the road, and we would use no one else, that's what we're here for.
While we're on the subject of they call us back, we would never use anyone else, which are the most amazing things to hear. What have been some of the bigger challenges? And just pull one story, bigger challenge that you've faced where you really kind of had to lock in, dial in the focus and say, okay, this adversity is actually an opportunity and here's what we're going to do. We're going to knock it out in the park.
Well, some of the biggest challenges happened 5 years ago during COVID. As you guys know, I mean, the industry itself completely changed overnight. We had clients that were moving forward because they had a therapy or a drug that they had to launch and they were going to launch. And, they had to hire 50 or 60 or 70 people across the sales organization. And historically, a lot of those interviews were done in person, right? You're going to get to know your hiring manager. You're going to get to know the VP of sales. You're going to get to know the chief commercial officers. So we were literally involved in 2 projects at the time when COVID happened. And so one of the biggest hurdles for us was transitioning that entire process virtually. It was almost unheard of. I mean, yes, companies and clients did virtual interviews, but to do a complete process from first interview to second interview to panel interviews to a final interview without ever meeting the candidate, that was unheard of until COVID. We had to quickly pivot and create the reality of being able to help those clients through that process and still hire top talent. always going to have small hurdles. The FDA is always going to push something back a little bit.
Right.
You're always going to have changes in regards to strategy on where this company's heading. But if you talk about a major hurdle and a major change, it had to do with literally going away from any face-to-face interviews strictly to virtual interviewing from beginning to end.
How did you keep the personal touch with that? Because that was, I remember when that happened, bit of a
Yeah.
challenge. How did you guys go about doing that?
Well, we had to make sure that, the clients and the candidates had to be comfortable with going through this process. The one thing that I mentioned about the type of search we do, we're working with very specialized, high level, rare disease biotech companies. So people who are watching this that maybe aren't in the industry, they're like, what does that mean? We're not dealing with entry level roles. We're dealing with high level, highly compensated individuals who've been in the industry for 20 and 30 years. The one aspect of working with those individuals is they are very experienced. And they're very selective. I'm talking about the candidates in regards to if they're going to make a change, a career change. Same thing with the clients. These are the best of the best. This is when you look at the food chain within the pharmaceutical industry, when you're talking about high level rare disease, oncology, cardiovascular, nephrology companies, you're talking about the top leadership and the top tier individuals in the industry as a whole. And so we had to make sure that they felt really comfortable with literally hiring individuals without ever meeting them.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, Ed, as you know, we're talking commercial, and we also do regulatory medical affairs clinical, a little bit bigger of a challenge there because sales leadership, sales people are very engaging. They can get through a virtual interview, series of interviews, and really still get to know a person. So now it's the norm, right?
Yeah.
Now it's the norm. We still have clients that still to this day will offer up. Do you want to go back to flying candidates to a final interview to corporate? You're like, no, we're good. We've had a lot of success hiring people virtually. Our teams are growing, our revenue's moving forward. So it's here to stay.
Funny how that happens though, isn't it? We didn't have the technology 20 years ago and 15 years ago,
Right.
even 10 years ago. But you realize we really banged our head against the wall for a long
Sure.
time. Yeah.
Look at how we're doing this today. Did this exist, this technology prior to COVID? Kinda, but not at the level of what we see and how we all interact,
Yeah.
on a daily basis. Instead of picking up the phone, we hit the button and we talk like this.
So getting back to the partnership,
Yeah.
how does CoEffex, and we've touched on this, how does CoEffex serve BEC? Most importantly, how does it serve the client over the long term in your mind? Like, I'd love to lay it out there because there's really so much there and it can be very simplistic step by step. And there's a new value add in every step of the way.
It's the ongoing relationship that CoEffex is going to continue to have with the same leaders that we work with every single day. And so the beauty of you and your company coming in, CoEffex, continue to work with those leaders, continue to put succession planning in place for executive leadership, continuing to really move them forward along with BEC staying in touch. That's where I see this continuing. When I talk about clients just don't use us for a project and are unsatisfied and move on, that's not who we are. So when I see CoEffex and I talk about the expertise and the leadership within your company, we see you being involved with those clients forever, just like we are. And so maybe you can share with us some of the things that you do, specifically within CoEffex to make sure that those clients continue to work with you.
It's funny. I feel like we could sit here all day and talk about what we do, but the bottom line is this. Leadership development, everybody invests in leadership and they invest a lot of money, but can they truly understand what their ROI is? You'd be amazed at how many conversations I have. And someone will tell me,
Right.
hey, listen, we'd love to work with you, but we spent our dollars on this. This is what we have it budgeted for next year, but give us a call in the year. Or here's what we did last year. Oh, you did that last year. That's great. How'd that go? How did that work with your people? Well, they tell us they liked it. Awesome. They liked it. But what was the return on your investment? And the thing that we have the ability to do here at CoEffex is we turn leadership into measurable growth. We have proprietary coaching effect survey. We benchmark leadership effectiveness against over 500,000 coaching interactions, and that helps us establish a clear baseline, right? Then what we do is we elevate, because we take that data and we turn it into action. And then we help you sustain that. And we sustain it throughout continuous tracking, development, and reinforcement. And it's great. And you think about it, it really speaks into what you are doing and what you want to do for your clients.
Let's talk about value that we bring our clients. We talk about investment in talent for impactful results. That's part of our DRO. What does that mean? What that means is we have other competitors that are out there every single day who, quite frankly, they're less expensive than we are. We are not, BEC, we are not the race to the bottom, least expensive opportunity for you to build your organization. We're just not, but we are the best value. And that value comes back to exactly what you're talking about. It's the retention and the ongoing leadership development, what happens with the people that we place. So absolutely, I mean, that fits exactly into the value that we bring our clients.
Let me read some numbers to you here. That's from our research over the last 17 years. But think about this: leadership development that moves the needle. Here's what we are going to do together, right? 70% greater likelihood of sales teams exceeding their performance goals when leaders coach effectively. Okay. Teams are 3.8 times more likely to be highly engaged. And we all know what happens when they're highly engaged. Organizations see a 3 times lower turnover of top talent, which is significant because that goes back to what we're talking about. How do you go from 5.3 to 2? All right.
Right.
Leaders build 7.8, almost 8 times greater trust, clarity, and follow through with the people that they lead. And then employees, and this is huge, are 5.5 times more likely to recommend their organization as a great place to work. I mean, those numbers to me, while they may seem simple and they may seem whatever on the surface, those are huge numbers.
Absolutely. And your best companies, that's what they're looking for. They want that and they need that.
Yeah, that's something I want to ask you. And I hate to interrupt you, but I get so excited when you and I talk about these things. Who do you work with? And I don't mean the life science, the rare disease. What types of people, what types of leaders, what types of organizations and cultures do you like to be a part of? Because to me, that's where it becomes really powerful. When you get to, and I don't mean this in an arrogant way or snotty way, when you get to choose who you want to take a shot at, you're not getting given every deal, but who you want to take a shot at doing business with and partnering with.
Number one, we look for the companies that are saving patients' lives. But let's start right there. When you can work with a company that has an impact on saving lives, let's focus on how you feel about bringing them top talent to be able to do that. So that's number one. Number two, we look at the culture that's maybe already established, even in a very early stage. So a lot of times these companies, let's talk about the FDA process. It takes years to get a drug through a process. So this company's already got, people in clinical, people in pre-commercial. They've already built a team and a culture. And now they're getting within a year or so of being able to actually hopefully get the approval and launch this product. So we're able to meet the leadership. We're able to sit down with the CEO. We're able to sit down with a chief commercial officer. We can sit down with a chief medical officer, head of people success. And we take the time to get to meet those people as part of our process. A lot of times when we identify a company that's going to be within the next year or two launching a new product, I reach out to them. John Denny reaches out to them, and we want to get to know them. Not so much about, what they probably are doing or what's going on right now, but where they are going to be in the future. So we take the time, fortunately, to get to know those people. And then we come away and we say, boy, is that someone who's like our organization? Is that someone who fits our culture? Is that someone who has the integrity? Now you talk about, values and mission of what BEC is built on. Is that someone who has the same work ethic? Is that someone who basically has the same mission that our company's built on? That's who we're looking for. We want those companies. And quite frankly, we are fortunate. I mentioned we do get calls and we do go through this process with other companies and we get to know the leadership teams, and not all of them are for us because they may not align with what we want. They may not align with our cultures and our mission and our values here at BEC. And when we look back, the companies that we do partnership where we're aligned on values and mission, it's a home run. Those are the partners we've been with for 30, 15, 25, 10 years. Those are the partnerships that work.
And I really truly believe that's why we're so aligned. And the fact that we're connected, this partnership is an amazing collection of people. And when you do things the right way for the right reasons, you tend to have a lot more fun, even
Right.
when you're in the fight. And to take that journey alongside each other and alongside BEC's clients, I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. I know you guys are coming up with a lot of great information that's going to be coming out regarding CoEffex. Obviously, we can't wait to get the partnership started. We can't wait to get this going. And before you know it, hopefully we'll be looking back. I know we're going to be looking back within the next 6 months to a year, talking about how this collaboration, this partnership has changed the industry. We are here to give these clients something they've never had. The combination of BEC and CoEffex doesn't get any better than that.
It doesn't. It doesn't. When we're looking back a year from now, we're looking back at the success and the impact the leaders that you folks brought on had with their clients. You have to make me one promise. We do it in Columbus, Ohio, and we go back to that same steakhouse that we were at
Absolutely
a few months ago. That was insane. What was it? What was it called again?
There's a couple of great ones here, and
there's two.
There's two. The Ocean Club was where we went, and that's the place that's special, and it's a great locally owned. They have restaurants all across the country, but it is based in Columbus, Ohio, and it's a phenomenal restaurant.
Well, Ted, I can't thank you enough. And you can find everything about BEC Search at becsearch.com, as well as our partnership at becsearch.com. Go to the leadership tab. And I look forward to what lies ahead and find out more about CoEffex at coeffex.com, LinkedIn page, CoEffex. All the social handles are at CoEffex. Ted, where else can we find out more about BEC Search?
Call me. Pick up the phone, call Ted Coss. I'll tell you everything you need to know about us.
And that's one thing that never gets old. That's one way of doing things. We talked about everything's evolved instead of the face-to-face, and now it's Zoom or Teams. Pick up the phone and call. Ted, I can't thank you enough for your time, my friend.
Thank you.